Hello and greetings everyone. The little chat we're going to have today is going to be about the invasion of the Nordic lands by Christianity. Now then, there was a guy called Charlemagne, Emperor Charlemagne, who was in charge of Francia, which ended up being France, and he also ended up being the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, which was based in Rome. Now, he declared war on Saxony and other countries that were classed as pagan countries, and these were known as the Northern Crusades. So you can understand why I don't like when people say, oh, I'm on a crusade and stuff like that. Northern Crusades happened around the end of the 7th century, and on one day in the invasion of Saxony, Emperor Charlemagne murdered over 3,500 people of the Nordic faith. 3,500 he murdered. Do you know how he murdered them? He baptised them. Baptised them by tying their hands behind the back and throwing them in the river. 3,500 men, women, children, babies, everything. Now this is the Christian saviour. Now, a lot of people go on about the Nordic people invading Lindisfarne in 793. But what they don't realise, in 788, I believe it was, that's when Charlemagne made that disgusting act of murdering all those people. So, was this really a unprovoked attack by the Vikings on churches, or was it retaliation for the murderous act that Charlemagne did 5 years earlier? Well, I believe it was the murderous act Charlemagne did 5 years earlier. And then you've got Harold Bluetooth, who helped introduce Christianity to the Nordic lands. And eventually, sorry about this, I'm just going to drive around a little bit to find a parking space. So eventually, all the Nordic lands were told under face of death that they weren't allowed to practice the Norse gods, which of course, knowing our people as we do, they still went ahead and worshipped them. They weren't going to get told by a Christian king that they couldn't worship the gods. You know, I've never really been very good at reversing. It's a good job that I've been practicing just a little bit. There we go, that'll do me very well. Right, so now I can concentrate on what I'm talking about. So, Harold Bluetooth started forcing people to convert to Christianity. Now, he done that because the Holy Roman Empire told him that their Holy Roman Empire would recognise him as king. And he was the king and the god. But to be king and the god, he had to be a Christian. So that's what he done. Converted to Christianity. And so were loads of different bribes and stuff like that. He took over the kingdom of Denmark, then Norway, and his influence passed all over the Nordic countries. Now, at this time, England was already a Christian country, and monasteries and everything was around then. But countries like Iceland weren't. So, Harold Bluetooth used his influence, and over a few years, Iceland also became a Christian country in around 999 AD. But they didn't lose the faith. They've never lost the full faith. What they would do is they would use Christianity and the Nordic ways. still up there. There's lands in Iceland that's put aside for the ancient race of people. You've got to do your own research to find out who that is. But there's certain parts of the land you can't build on, you can't trespass on, because a certain group of people are said to still inhabit it. So look it up, find out who you can see it is. It's quite interesting. Okay, I'm very nosy. I love to have a look around to see what's going on, especially when I'm parked, you know, somewhere as busy as this. It's good to keep your eyes open. But I keep going off subject. Stupid me. So anyway, Iceland was forced to become Christian. And you got people like Leif Erikson, who discovered the United States. He done that, took the Christian God with him, but he still took the pagan God with him. And around the 11th and 12th century, Snorri Sturluson, I can't pronounce his second name, we all know who I'm on about. Snorri wrote the Havamal and the Eddas. Now, he was a Roman Catholic, but he also still followed the gods. Not 100%, but he still followed the gods, and he followed Christianity, both hand in hand. A lot of people do that. A lot of the Nordic people at that time classed Jesus as one of the gods. It was quite common to do that. Most of the Norse gods were taken from other countries, religious gods. You got the Asa and Vinna, and a lot of people believe the Vinna were Hindu. But, you know, that's open to discussion. But anyway, all the Nordic lands were forced into Christianity by greed and murder. They didn't really have a choice. Now then, in the news and that, you see a lot of grief going towards the Islamic race, the Muslim race. But to be honest, they just do what the Christians done before them. So when we're going to get with lands back? We've got one temple in England, which is run by the Ordnance Fellowship. That's at Newark. But I want to see more. Ancient lands that used to belong to us and our temples were taken, destroyed, churches built on the top. I'm not on about recompense or giving with them back, but at least give them the opportunity to get grants from the government to be able to buy and restore some of these areas. I'm going to be working more on this in the future. But yeah, I mean, we have the right to have our old ways back. Most of Northern Europe was ravaged by Christianity. And still, they haven't destroyed our faith. The gods are still here. What's it, 1,200 years later, gods are still here. They can't get rid of them. The gods will always be here. It's their land. Okay, I was just off for a little drive to the shop to get my medication, so that's where I'm going to go now. So I'll talk to you all later. Hail the gods. Hail's here. Hail there. Hail the old father. And then for Charlemagne, boo. Have a Bluetooth, boo. Talk to you all later. And don't forget, stay safe.